to this episode of Owning Her Health with the beautiful Luisa Ferrario. I love the way that goes over my tongue. I met Luisa on LinkedIn. Surprise, surprise, surprise. She is sparking businesses through lifestyle, her unique perspective on the transformation that can occur when you truly take a step into changing your mastery for the impact of your business on your life, for the impact of your business on your own sense of leadership, and the impact of your business on your life, and more so making sure you have a life and not just a business. And so obviously we connected on that. We're speaking in similar conversations. I think we need a whole world of these medicine women sharing that medicine because we are the gold. Okay, we are the creators, and unless we, the leaders, the visionaries, the high supporters, start coming together and joining our circles, we're going to continuously be pulled down into just the analytics, the mental metrics, the controlling, creating these pods. And I did it too. If you know my story, if you've been listening to me, the Belly Guru and the Belly Guru Yoga Training Center, and that beautiful fusion of physiotherapy and yoga and lifestyle medicine and behavioral change. I could have stayed in that pod, in that circle, waiting for those women who feel broken to walk into and that be it. But what I realized is that after I would help them, and many of the people I would get were transitioning executives, were the other women physicians and other healthcare leaders, the therapists, the counselors, and things like that. There was so much of who my population ended up being that I realized, by gosh, once we do this work together, they go and they start these wonderful initiatives. They go off and they get another degree and then go open up a beautiful practice, an integrative practice. They go and they change their relationships in their personal lives and they stop doing the Botox and the this and that. Not that there's anything against it, but they were doing that to sort of be something for someone else. And I see them blossom into just being who they are, and they suddenly don't need that. They go become yoga teachers themselves and yoga therapists. I would inspire them, and they'd go and become the medicine, develop the programs, go on to kind of be thought leaders in the industry. And I said, my gosh, I think that's where I'm supposed to be. And so I saw that in Luisa and the work she's doing, because she's working in a similar place that I want to be, which is that you're already in startup, but you can stay in startup mode forever. And I think that's why I liked and wanted to connect with Luisa and connect her with you, is that you're going to hear a conversation that it doesn't really matter how much Luisa's making in her business. It doesn't matter how big her audience is compared to mine. There's something about the connection we made when I reached out to her, that I saw her, that she decided and made a decision to connect with me and allow me to platform her and highlight her in a way that didn't feel intimidating to me. This is the healing that we've personally done, and it's the healing in the sisterhood, and we're going to go so much further. We're going to go so much further. Get all the mechanics out and whatnot. Whether your company culture, organizational structure, the business model, or it just is your mindset as the leader, your behaviors, you're owning it 100%. Luisa really likes to tell people that it's not a challenge for her. It's not a challenge for her to get into their, partnering with C-suites, business owners, entrepreneurs, and their teams to create and implement organizational and leadership strategies to help their employees and companies thrive with more profit and purpose. Because the reality is that no one really wants to be at work for the purpose of just making everyone else happy. There's something about it. We're there. I see this particularly with women. We're like, money doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter. That's baloney. If money didn't matter, it wouldn't motivate you to get out of bed and go to wherever you need to go make the money. At some level, it might be when your kid needs braces, or when someone's seriously ill or something like that. You may have core drivers that are at different levels, but the reality is money is important. Money is important. But what's really important for people and why we're breaking is that we are human beings. We're not human doings, and we've been trying our butt off to be these human doings and to be machines. And when you are just making profit without purpose, you can turn into being a six-figure earner in your business, multiple six figures, and just kind of still be in that launch mode, kind of be in that survival mentality. And you can say, "Oh, but it's what I love. I love being a workaholic. I love sort of, not I don't have to smile and have joy. I'm enjoying this. I'm in a place, but why? Why are you enjoying that when you're not taking the time to really be free of it, right? Not you might be a little unfocused. You might be dealing with, when a curve happens in your life, maybe you're no longer able to make the impact and the interest, the and have the interest on your team. And so that's really why I reached out to Luisa, because she's working with companies to do that. And through her own process, which many of our leading ladies that I feature here are, she went through her own transformation and her own need of healing, and kind of brings herself fully into this work. And so, without much further ado, let me introduce you to the beautiful Luisa Ferrario.
Join Lisa as she starts the conversation on what it really takes to become a healthy, wealthy, and whole CEO of your life. Listen in to Real Talk by real lady leaders in all walks of life as they open up on personal health stories, wealth, career, and feminine abundant living. Learn how to grow by owning your body, expanding your mind, and aligning your soul with the purpose only you can pursue in this world. Happiness begins with owning her health right now.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people. Thank you so much for being here on Owning Her Health. As I said in the intro, this is Dr. Lisa, and I'm so excited because I have the beautiful, passionate, wonderfully motivating, rebel, transformative leader, Luisa Ferrario. Oh, thank you so much for being here, Luisa. Luisa is a mindset coach. She's a leader. She has, like I said, rebel transformation. That sounds radical. She's working with, executives. She's trying to get their businesses in alignment with maybe their grandeur and getting people up to their greatness. So, Luisa, thank you so much for being here from literally the other half of the world from me here in the United States on the East Coast. So why don't you tell everyone kind of how the heck did you get into what you're doing now? Because I know you have a story of health and well-being, and taking that very common journey that many of my guests are, flipping their pain, turning it into a passion, and then you made it into a profit. So how did you get here? Kind of give us an idea. Who are you? Who are you in the world right now?
So, hi everybody. Thank you, Lisette. Thank you for having me here. And how did I get here? So I come from a story of, let's say, difficult, abusive household when I was a kid. Since I was in my 20s, I was not really understanding what was going on inside of me, outside of me. So I was not connecting the dots. And then I started finding books and resources that helped me understand better who I was, what was happening outside, and how that was affecting my own life, my choices, and the awareness that I needed to gain in order to be more intentional and build, let's say, I'm used to say, a life that is a masterpiece, not because I am a who you
right
who knows who, but because I think that my main intention is that I end this lifetime with no regrets, and with a huge smile on my face, and happy to have been on this journey and what I have been able to give back to people. Since I was a kid, probably I think that was also going on when I was in my mother womb. But since I was a kid, I turned out to be quite sick. So I always had inflammations, things that were not working. I took a lot of antibiotics. And so I was born at the end of the 60s. And so taking medicines back then was a cool thing to do, because a lot of new
Yeah.
discoveries, a lot of new things.
Mm-hmm.
And we were not yet aware of the extent that those products could be safely taken, because I mean, not I'm totally fine with taking medicines and with surgery when we really need them. Otherwise, there are plenty of other ways that are definitely more conscious, and more respectful, and that promote our health in a more, let's say, in a holistic way than
Right.
just in a
Right.
partial way. Yeah. And so I have not been a kid who could always run free and with the support of parents. Probably as many other kids, I have been told many times, don't run, you will fall down. Don't do this because you will be harmed. So many limitations, so many concerns, so many fears. And not later than a couple of years ago, I realized how much shame my
Mm.
body was still holding, that was not even mine. So that was
Mm.
really mind blowing. And just uh, getting to know that, and transforming all this energy that was stuck in different parts of my body, not just the physical body, but also the mental body and the
Mm-hmm.
energy body and the
Mm-hmm.
emotional body. I could really release a lot of abundance flow that was really, really, really a game changer. Yeah.
Yeah. And so is that what brought you into sort of doing the executive coaching or working with leaders and things like that? Was kind of you understanding that um, and I'm very similar than this, like it's like the person at a cellular level needs to sometimes like there's only so far personal development, the whole like jump into an ice tank and run, whatever, and even doing like the yoga and the meditation, the running, the exercise, the all of it, right? Like learning the ways to manipulate people and da, 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 da. Like there's only so far that's going to take you. Is that also what you sort of found and how you developed your
Yeah,
your
what
work
I
and
found is
company?
that, so my leadership style, the one that I use and the one that I promote and I
Mhm.
teach to leaders, it's comes from within. So it's in fact, I have a newsletter on LinkedIn that is called Impactful Leaders, and
Mm.
the sub headline is Leading from the Inside Out.
Mhm.
So it's when you connect with yourself, that you can influence the outcomes out there. And it is not the other way around. So, yeah, it happens that what happens out there can affect you, of course, but the choice, so where we should put our focus is, in order to be more intentional, is if that is what is happening out there. This means that I have made choice in the past. It could be 1 hour ago, it could be 10 years ago, it could be a year ago, that led to that outcome. Okay. So
Right.
if this outcome can be taken into account as a feedback, then what do I want to choose now in order to have a different outcome? Okay. And I started working with leaders of big corporations, Fortune 500 companies, world organizations, and I work with them for almost 15 years. And I could help them to the extent of where we were meeting each other,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
sometimes I could not help them that much, and so I was not even taking them as clients, because the way we were, so the wavelength that we were was too far. So the gap
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I could help them close in terms of mindset, in terms of attitude, was too big. And so I recently pivoted on a different clientele that
Mm-hmm.
I felt that I could help even more than just corporate leaders. I still
Mm-hmm.
work with corporate leaders
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when they reach
Mm-hmm.
out. And but mainly now I help business owners,
Mm-hmm.
basically business service providers like
Mm-hmm.
coach consultants and service
Mm-hmm.
providers in general, that are more close to my heart, to the person I am today. And as you were mentioning at the beginning, I help them with mindset, with energy set, with emotion set, in order also to acquire tools that easy tools that work very quickly and they can also use by by themselves, and they can get their life definitely easier, and moreover their business and entrepreneurial experience more fun, more joyful, more fulfilling, because at the end of the day, if I do not enjoy all the things that I do during my day, during my week, during my year, what's the purpose of being in business? Because we are not doing business, in my opinion. We are business, and we are uh, being business. It's not just
Right.
doing business. We have to
Right.
be business.
Right, because life is now
Yeah.
and we are human beings. We're not human doings. And, that's and that's one of the reasons why I've reached out to you on LinkedIn. All of you guys listening in, this is how you could use LinkedIn. You don't have to just be sitting there, spamming everybody with, buy this, buy that. You can actually make relationships. And this is what we're talking about. We are in a phase right now where we desperately need relationship.
Yeah.
We need that sort of mother code coming back because if we think about it, or at least that's where why I reached out to you, Luisa, because I was like, oh, I can see it in her. I see we do a very similar thing. I think I'm just at a very initial inflection point of them realizing that they could actually break out of the mold of clinician and be creator minded, however that's going to be, whether you start another company or you just change the system as it is, or you're going to write a book, or you're going to do a program, or you just jump into entrepreneurship, or even stay entrepreneurship but change, becoming a thought leader, changing the course of it. I saw that in you, bringing in that creator side, that really, that, like I said, that mother code, caring about the people being, which
Yeah.
we so need right now. I know you have a VIP experience, right? That
I
you're
do.
formulating. Tell us a little bit about that. How's that kind of fixing and fixing a little bit of the atmosphere for, like what you said, create allowing people to be able to meet in that consciousness gap.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So basically, this VIP experience is called Ninja Business Activation,
Mm,
and it is meant to help business owners, entrepreneurs, to get clear and upgrade their abundance mindset and energy set and emotion set, as I was saying before, and also to get clear on business strategy, business structure, and business systems.
mhm.
I think that every entrepreneur, uh, probably some of them, or of us, I could also say of us, just have this in a hidden place in their heart, but they want to become CEOs of their own companies. So
Right. Yeah. So I want to stop here and I want to talk about that, right? Becoming CEOs of their own companies or becoming a CEO of your own life. A lot of times, this is kind of a secret desire. And what I found in working with people, and why I devised the Mind Body Brand Academy originally, was because I saw there was a gap in our own core leadership and our own identity of who we want to be. in order to do the things we want to do. So we have these wonderful dreams, but we're trapped by the industry's definition of what we are, let's say, as a doctor, a therapist, a health coach, a yoga, therapist, or whatever it is we're coming from. We might be a lawyer, a teacher, a mother, a wife. We have this conversation going on in our head: is what does that? Who's allowed to talk about XYZ that we're evolving into? And so, My Body Brand Academy, the DIY version. This is sponsored this show by the DIY version. You can look and click on the link below. 8 modules. Do it at whatever pace you need. If you act before the end of 2022, you will get an onboard call that is an additional $200 value to orientate you and figure out where you are along the journey, along the sacred success path. But in terms of, needing to orientate you for bringing an idea into income, it's not about, do I have an LLC? It's not about, do I have a program yet? Do I have a course or something like that? It actually is none of that. It's, do you have an audience that you can draw from? Do they know you for something? Are you known for someone as someone or something yet? That's what Mind Body Brand Academy is about. It's about filling in that gap that I saw before they get you signed up to all these wonderful CRMs and all these wonderful systems and all this scaling. You can't scale something you don't 100% have yourself enrolled in. And I realize that. And a lot of women are stuck there. And it's why we don't succeed in entrepreneurship, even when we're in it. So, if that's of interest to you and you'd like to do this work before the end of the year, sign on to www.mindbodybrandacademy.com and take a look. All right, back to our conversation with Luisa.
I think that this is part of the truth, part of what we do, the way we do. So this Ninja Business Activation is actually, it is a VIP day that could be used as, let's say, as a vertical VIP. So just one day working together, and then with another, let's say, implementation session that comes after 3-4 weeks. It depends. Or it could be a horizontal one, because some people prefer to take a little bit more of time.
Yeah.
And to also because rhythm, a personal rhythm and business rhythm could be different. Also by time to time. I mean, today me as Luisa, I might need a VIP day that is just one day, and maybe in 2 months I may be another one that is a little bit longer. So in order not to have too many different offers, because basically it's the same offer, I just created this horizontal or vertical VIP.
I love it. I hear you, because especially the way we work, and this is what everybody who's listening to this, you got to understand, we're moving into the quantum. We're moving into that whole idea of some working in with the bespoke type of way that we have to work with our operating systems, and our seasons of life. And I'm so excited. It's finally catching up to us, Luisa. It's finally catching up to us, to get here. This whole thing is so evolutionary. I like to say that more so than revolutionary, because I'm trying to get us away from that sort of battle war zone kind of mentality, and just more become the farmers versus the fighters, right? But I assume a decade ago, this way of thinking was not the Luisa of 10 years ago. Considering the fact, if you could, and we can, right? We can make resolutions with ourselves. The woman 10 years ago that was sort of, living the life that is planting the seeds for this right now. If you could speak into her ear right now, what do you think the woman today, Luisa, would say to her?
Yeah. Can I go back to 20 years ago and not?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so 20 years ago, I found that Luisa found herself in a place of real despair and hopelessness, because my marriage was not working, my financial was not working, my health was really at the rock bottom, and I was losing the custody of my daughter. So that was probably the
Lots of role changes, lots of
yeah, I have
transformation.
goosebumps just mentioning that. But anyway, so what I would say to that, Luisa, is put yourself first. Put yourself first, because the worst thing that I was keep doing was to give space to everybody else to step into very thin boundaries that I was not even aware that I had. I was not aware that I had boundaries, and I was not aware that those boundaries were so thin. And then I started realizing that I was really leaving myself out of the equation. So that could not work. And it was back then that I had sort of a revelation, an epiphany, and realized that I could probably lose, let's use this word, even if I do not like it, but 20 years ago, it was in my vocabulary. I could lose everything, also my daughter, but I could not lose myself. If I was losing myself, if I was not authentic, if I was not giving myself permission to be vulnerable, to even to suffer, to and then from there to step up, to stand out, and to be the creator, the conscious creator of my life, all the rest would be with no meaning at all. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Wow, powerful work there, Luisa. And thank you for sharing that because it's so important for us. And again, I feel like this is kind of one of the roles of women on this earth are to share these stories. We used to do this kind of in our own little families and tribes and things like that. We were sort of the tradition holders and because there's so much power in the reflection of ourselves in other people, the modeling, the whole ability to have, personal agency is self agency. You have to sort of be able to see yourself in, the journey of someone else, that whole idea of the heroine's journey or the hero's journey. And it's very isolating to think I'm the lone wolf. And we've been sold that idea of being the lone wolf, being the leader of the pack. And that's one way to go in survival. But what you're talking about is you met with a woman 20 years ago that needed to thrive. And that's where my heart is with working. It's a hard place to work with women because, like you said, like they have to kind of defy the norms, and kind of everyone else might see it as selfish, but really what it is it's the ultimate love story that we have
Absolutely.
to do so that we can be love, to share the love. And so many people gloss over that, skip that, make themselves self-sacrificing, break down, lose their vitality. So thank you so much for sharing that, because I know there's a lot of people that are listening to this right now that are there. They're the you 20 years ago that was like, I'm too scared I'm going to lose everything. But the reality is you're going to gain everything that you can,
Exactly.
right? So
Yeah, if you are an empty glass,
what is
what
that, right? Like,
yeah.
why have we convinced ourselves it's better to be an empty, you know, regretful, just like the Walking Dead? We've convinced ourselves it's better to live like the Walking Dead
Yeah,
than to actually be living.
yeah,
So let's flip that now. So you have all this wonderful work, you're talking about this new way of living, being, birthing your business through that. The woman, a decade or 2 decades down the road, her wisdom, because she's there too, right? She's cheering you on right now.
yeah.
If you're successful in your vision of life and success, what do you hope she's telling you right now? What would you love to welcome her whispering in your ear right now?
Yeah. Uh, we in the conversation, in the previous conversation that
Mm-hmm.
we had before
Mm-hmm.
connecting today, we were talking about choice and decision.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that that woman is telling me that I have to keep choosing intentionally and to be beyond any low level emotion that could get in the way, and be brave enough every day, every hour, every second to choose intentionally what gives me lightness and what gives me joy. I'm not saying
Mm.
that this is always the case,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not always a fairy tale with the happily ever after. And but the intention that she's conveying to me, of the message that she's conveying to me, is that to keep choosing intentionally.
Mm. Yes. So what I'm hearing is that kind of like wisdom of, like you said, I think again, we're stuck in an idea where, well, if you're saying I'd be like, I can't be happy if everything's not perfect, but that's not true. There's a choice to be made about how you're going to sort of take those energies in motion and those emotions and your experiences and things like that. And that's such wisdom to sort of keep reminding ourselves, because yes, in the now, in the now, in the now, everything's going on. You've got and there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of pain still going on. There's a lot of the world still going on, but isn't it beautiful to think that we have choice still? Isn't that the
Yeah,
ultimate
absolutely,
freedom?
absolutely. So, as my physical body has fibromyalgia, there are days when I wake up and I would like my body
Right, right.
to wake up the way that would be needed in order to
Yeah.
step into the day and do all the amazing things that there are on my calendar. But this is not always the case. But what I can choose as soon as my eyes open is that how do I want to feel right now? And this is something that I have completely power over. I mean, there
Right.
is nobody else who can rule my choice of again choosing how to feel or how to deal with a certain thing. So I think that sometimes we should remind ourselves that there is something called blessing that we could use.
Mm.
I'm,
Or
I'm a spiritual
grace.
person. I'm a
Yeah, that's
spiritual.
what I kind of see as grace, what you're
Yeah, yeah,
describing,
yeah,
living in grace.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
kind of came to me, and I felt I sort of got anointed with that back in 2016. It was a definite, it was a different sort of, like you said, like a peace or a blessing or maybe even anointing. Like maybe I don't even understand it, but it just is a filter. It's like those filters on Instagram, right? Like this little different tone to it that just sort of brings out the shadows differently and
Mm.
brings out the light differently, and somehow, yeah, I like that one, like, or I could choose a different one, but it's the same picture. It's just somehow the filter. So I love that. So what's the vision, Luisa? What's the vision um for you, or for this conversation that you're trying to have and sort of birth in the world?
So let's say that my ultimate goal is to help myself first and others who are not just customers, but
Mm-hmm.
who else
People,
is in my
yeah.
life to make millions, impacting millions. So this is my
Mm,
ultimate goals. This is the deepest desire that I have in my
nice.
heart. And this is a very powerful leading force that I rely on when I choose where to go next.
Yeah, I love that because, like, so many people, like, there is that conflict, right? Like, does it have to be making millions to make millions impact? No, it doesn't. But the point is you're going to be able to do a lot more if you have millions in your pocket while you're impacting the millions. And that's a conversation I have a lot because, that's evolved over time. I studied yoga, the esoteric world. There's like a lot of like that humbleness, and faith-based people have sometimes that conflict of like it. And it's not that, it's that like but you're living now in the 3D, like the concept of like, well, let me live as poor as possible, as needy as possible, and whatever, and rely on the whole rest of the world to empower me, so that I can die and then be empowered in a different realm that can't help any of these people. Like, if you think about it, it's like, wouldn't it be? Isn't it kind of more like let's reread the Bible just from the past, like let's just reread it, kind of thinking, well, let's really look at what Jesus was doing. Like, he was like, life is now, impact now, like they were, like he was living, and he had a place to sleep, he had food, like he can make it, he can manifest it. Like, you need to be able to do that too. Like, you need to be able to do that too, you know.
And for everybody, millions could mean something different. I mean, it's not just cash that we are talking about.
Wealth.
Yeah, it's wealth in general. Absolutely. Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it, love the work you're doing. Where can we find you? Who's somebody right now is like, oh my God, I gotta find Luisa. Where's the best place to find you right now?
So first and foremost, I have a website that is Luisa Ferrario. So it's
Okay,
easy to
very
find.
easy, very easy. Great branding.
Yeah, then I really would like to connect on LinkedIn, because the same way that we connected and we are doing something very powerful, I could do something powerful with someone else. And then I think that you will probably have a few links.
Yep, everything will be on the show notes. All you guys that listen in, those of you that are new, go on to the main show notes for Owning Her Health. And wherever you're listening to this, on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, go on over to the main show notes, and you'll be able to get all the links, and we'll keep that updated on things. And that's another thing I talk about. I have this academy talking about the value of the personal brand and being the person first. It allows you to be on these types of things, and show up authentically, and then be like, yeah, like me, I'm like Dr. Lisa Holland PT.com. Like that's where you find whatever's going on for the time. Like, it's not, don't worry about my logo, don't worry about my message or whatever. Like, go on there, and we can connect. So I love that you did that too. All right. Any parting words, anything you want to kind of leave the audience with? This has been such a wonderful chat. And I thank you so much again of showing the woman behind the business and the brand, and the message that she's making. Anything closing?
So to close, I would say that one of the most powerful things entrepreneurs can do is to, it might sound maybe naive to say it's to believe in themselves.
It's
I'm sorry,
basic.
but there is no fix for that. I mean, it's important, and it's probably mandatory that we believe in ourselves. If we just have the smallest idea that we are not believing enough in ourselves, seek for help. It could be a community on Facebook, it could be a friend, it could be a mentor, it could be whoever, but seek for help. If you believe
Because
in yourself.
yes, you will follow your belief systems. Great goddess wisdom there. Please, please, please listen to Luisa. Please, please, please. If you don't ever listen to me, I'm preaching it all over the place. Please listen to Luisa, because it's true. It's belief. We will always follow our beliefs, whether we know it or not. Whether we know it or not. So that's a great parting words.
They lead us, and we follow them. So it's important that we have the biggest intention possible on our beliefs, because the unconscious mind is enormous. It's
yeah, and it's constantly getting, I like to call it the BS. the belief systems, but I'm also saying the BS.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luisa. All right, guys. So definitely go onto our show notes really super easily, luisaferrario.com, and get on LinkedIn. Get on LinkedIn and connect, because yes, the powerful women are over there, by the way. It's not just, people, whatever. The conversations, there are conversations between people that want to be in there helping you, especially if you're an entrepreneur, especially if you have an idea or want to be a thought leader or something like that. That's what we all have done. So definitely come on over. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here for another episode of Owning Her Health. We'll see you next time. Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Luisa.
To learn more about her personal and professional development service, visit her online at drlisahollandpt.com.